found a buyer. I found a buyer. I even have a pre-qualification letter from Bank of America.
Be careful. I'm telling you, be careful.
Look, it says right here that they have checked everything and they're good to go.
I'm telling you, I know what it says, but you still have to be careful.
I can't believe they denied the loan. I can't believe they denied the loan. The buyers were approved and now they're denying the loan?
I hate to say it, but I kind of told you so. The mortgage industry is in the midst of a major makeover, and originators are having a very difficult time keeping up with all the changes.
But they said the buyers were good to go.
Why don't you join us as we break down questions you're going to want to ask the banks and mortgage companies to make sure your buyers really are approved.
This is Ron Cika, your friendly broker.
And Howard Vernick, your mortgage guru, welcoming you to this edition of Contract Talk. Ron, I got to tell you, I've been working with a number of buyers lately that have gone to other banks, get turned down, they come to me, I can reorganize the file and actually get them approved.
You know, I'm sure this is happening more and more.
Ron, you can't imagine how careful we have to be with each and every borrower that we talk to. We have to get all of their income and all of their asset documentation up front, even before they go out and look for homes.
So Howard, what's the real problem out there?
Ron, we're still feeling the residual effects that were caused from the problems from our mortgage meltdown. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are scouring each closed loan and looking for any reason to make lenders repurchase those loans back so they can take them off their books. Lenders are seeing what's happening, so they're double-checking, triple-checking every loan. They're making sure they dot every I and cross every T so they don't incur these same problems. They're even making rules on top of rules to make it harder for everyone. Now, what's really happening out there is that buyers, originators, and realtors are not getting with the program yet. They think that we're operating from times gone by. It's a new world out there, and we really have to change how we look at each and every single qualification. We're looking to re-educate everyone, and sometimes people have to get burned before they feel the fire.
Okay, Howard, so let's discuss some of the questions that we need to ask the loan originators and some of the red flags that we should all be aware of so we can get a handle on these situations.
You know, this is a good idea, and in many cases you're going to see the red flags just by how the originator handles your questions.
Well, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, if an originator is vetted a file completely, they'll answer your questions with a great deal of confidence. You'll know by their hesitancy if they just kind of ran credit and maybe looked at a couple of paycheck stubs.
You know, that's something I didn't think about. Well, let's get into some of those questions that we should be asking and some of the red flags that we should be looking out for.
So right now, other than property qualifications, the lenders are really looking in two areas. One is the qualifiable income, and two are the credit scores.
Okay, what about other attributes that the lenders are considering?
Well, within the credit report, they're actually doing separate analysis, and they're looking at accounts that might be authorized user accounts, deferred student loans, or any accounts that the borrower might be disputing. They feel like these accounts are skewing the credit scores and not giving them a true picture of the buyer's ability to repay.
Very interesting. So I guess the first question that the realtor should ask the loan originator is, what are the borrower's 3 credit scores?
Yes, and then they should inquire to make sure the originator took into account any authorized user account, deferred student loan, or any disputed accounts.
Wow, this is probably one of the biggest hidden culprits that are keeping buyers from loan approval.
It really is. Okay, so now once you've determined that the originator has given you sufficient information about the credit, now you got to start asking about the income and see how they analyze this borrower's income.
From what you've told us in the past, in every case, at the very minimum, the originator should review the borrower's last 2 years' tax returns, last 2 years' W-2s and or 1099 forms, last 2 pay stubs, last 2 bank statements, and any statements for passive income.
Not only do they have to review these documents, but they might have to look for more once they get the documents. You see, we're finding a lot of people writing off income based on their 2106 job-related expenses. We've also seen them have some side businesses where they lose money, or other properties where they're showing losses on their tax returns. Unfortunately, we have to take all of this into consideration when we determine their income.
The last and most important questions surround the property.
Yes, you want to ask the lender about property restrictions. Ask them about their condominium policies and about the policies regarding occupancy. The loan originator should be explaining different programs based on what type of property the buyer wants to purchase and how they're going to purchase it. Are they going to have this as their primary residence? Is this going to be a vacation home or an investment property? There's all different programs depending on what type of residency they're going to have.
Now, that is a lot of choices, and we can use this pre-qualification period to really narrow down what our buyers can purchase. And as you know, this will probably make our jobs a whole lot easier because the buyers will have less properties to view.
We have a number of other questions that you can ask these originators, but we really don't have the time to go through all of them here today. So we've enclosed a questionnaire down below that you can go ahead and print out and ask the lenders, ask the banks, all the different questions so you have a comfort level that your buyer is really approved. Now, the three areas that I feel are most important for you to have a good comfort level is number one, make sure you're dealing with an experienced originator. Number two, you want to determine how far the originator went to make sure that the buyer is actually qualified. And number three, you want to make sure that the properties that you're looking at will be able to qualify for financing.
And Howard, you've always told me to be a little leery if the lender qualifies a buyer to a loan amount if they don't have a property.
Well, we always qualify buyers to the payment because we don't know exactly how far that payment will take them. We'll actually give them a calculator so they can plug in the purchase price, the taxes, insurance, and homeowners association fees so they can determine the approximate payments on each property that they're looking at.
And you guys know what the taxes, insurance, and association fees are, so you can help that buyer determine if they can qualify for that property.
And you know they're very different when you go property to property.
Please, click on the link below and download that questionnaire. As a listing agent, you want to know if that buyer is qualified who's presenting an offer on your listing. And if it's your buyer who brought their own mortgage broker into the picture, you want to make sure that originators are at least experienced and that they did their homework.
And please, use me as a resource. Even if I'm not going to be providing financing for your buyer, I'm happy to take a look at everything and happy to let you know that everything's okay.
This is your friendly broker, Ron Cika.
And your mortgage guru, Howard Vernick, saying thank you for joining us in this edition of Contract Talk.